Namanda, 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 Namanda.
Good morning, and welcome to the Buddhist Church of Oakland's 2025 Eitaikyo Perpetual Memorial Family Service. My name is Daniel Bissonette, and I'll be serving as chairperson today. Eitaikyo is a memorial service held in gratitude for all those who have come before us, the generations of loved ones, mentors, and Sangha members whose lives and contributions made it possible for our temple to exist and continue today. We honor them, we remember them, and we express deep appreciation for the opportunity to hear the Nembutsu because of the cause and conditions they created. Thank you very much for joining us in this important and meaningful service. We'll begin with Sutra chanting of Sanbutsuge. This can be found on page Japanese service book.
Namanda, Namanda. Nichigatsumani Shuko Enyo Kaishitsu Onpei Yunyaku Jumok Nyorai Yogen Chosemurin Shogaku Dayon Konu Jippo Kaimon Shojin Sanmai Chie Itoku Muryo Shushoke Jintai Zenem Shobutsu Hokai Gujin Jin no Kugo Gaitai Mumyo Yokunu Seson Yomu Nino Shishi Jin Tokumuryo Kukun Kodai Chie Jinmyo Komyo Iso Shindo Daisen Ganga Sabutsu Zai Shoho Kado Shojin Mifugedat Kusejoin Kainin Shojin Nyoze Sanmai Chie Ijo 五世特物不行志願一切空空一切大安決し有物百千億万無量大小春陽五者君陽一切死と小物不尿愚道検証不客異尿五者小物世界部不可見無種節道光明師匠変師匠国尿税精進異人難量量が差物国土第一五種奇妙道場超絶国尿内音二無闘争がと愛民道達一切実法来生心熱症状意図が国経楽安穏古物神妙是が心象発願の非力少々欲実法世尊知恵無下上領子孫知が信行計量心身食読中画行精進忍術不軽ナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブナマンダブ願にしく読平等性一切道本母大心往生安那こ Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda, namanda, namanda. What's next? Teacher voice.
So next, please join us in singing Remember, found on page 82 in the small service book.
Things to remember. Oh, now? What are the things to remember? Remember. Think, think, think. Pure and beautiful thoughts. Say, say, say. Pure and beautiful words. And do, do, do. Pure and beautiful deeds. Those are the things to remember. And what are the purest and most beautiful, most beautiful? Think, think, think of boundless life and light. Say, 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 Namu Amida Butsu, and put our hands together in thanks. Those are the things to remember. We never did that one before, huh? Come on, it's a classic. Okay. Do a golden chain.
That was hard. We will now recite Golden Chain 2, located on page 50.
The battery's dead. All right, page 15 in the big purple book. Steve, can you switch the battery? Okay, Golden Chain 2, bottom of page 15. Ready? All together. I am a link in the Buddha's golden chain of love that stretches around the world. I must keep my link bright and strong. I will try to be kind and gentle to every living thing and protect all who are weak myself. I will try to think pure and beautiful thoughts, to say pure and beautiful words, and to do pure and beautiful deeds, knowing that on what I do now depends not only my happiness or unhappiness, but also that of others. May every link in the Buddha's golden chain of love become bright and strong, and may we all attain perfect peace. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda.
We will now hear a Dharma talk from Reverend Bridge.
Namanda, namanda, namanda. Okay, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us for our Eitaikyo Perpetual Memorial Service. So I have a couple of topics I want to do for Dharma School. The first one, you might have noticed things look a little different than usual. If you can't notice if this is your first time, and I know some of you it is, but if you've been here a bunch, what's different? Go for it, just yell it out. It's kind of hard to, might not know what it is. These are scrolls. We have these extra scrolls. We have 3 of them up here. A scroll is kind of like a book, but instead of having pages, it's rolled up. Right? So if you look at it, it might just look like a roll. But then if you unroll it, it's actually a book sometimes. Or it could be like these. These are the Eitaikyo scrolls. And so the Eitaikyo scrolls have something on them. Names. Okay, there are names on these scrolls. And there's 2 kinds of names. The one, if you came up close, you can see all this, it's Chinese lettering and some Japanese lettering, and it's the kind of small ones. There's a whole bunch of names on all of these scrolls. The one closest to me is the newest one, and so it has blank spaces. So there's plenty of room to put more names on it. Right? And the oldest one on Reverend Endo's side starts 1964. It's older than me. And there's all these names on there, right? And so these are names of people that have passed away. Okay, and so the family members of the people that passed away wanted to help support the church. They wanted to take care of the Naijin, the Hondo with the main hall, and the Naijin, this area with Amida Buddha and Shinran and all the stuff. Right? And so by they make a donation and have the loved ones' names put on the scroll, and then we can remember them in that way. And it also is for the future of the church. Now there's another name on there too. Can anybody guess what name's on there? Amida Buddha. Amida Buddha's name is on each one of the scrolls. And if I asked you, what's Amida Buddha's name? Amida Buddha? Nope. Amida Buddha's name is Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, the thing that we say a lot in service. Namandab, that's the name of Amida Buddha. So when we say the Nembutsu, we're saying Amida Buddha's name. Buddha name recitation is a kind of Buddhist practice. So you can see it, I bet, even from way in the back. It's in the middle, the top middle of each scroll. Do you see all those Chinese characters? Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu, 6-character name. And if you look really close, there's even a lotus at the bottom of the name. So it's not only is it Amida's name written there, it's actually a Buddha image. It's an image of Amida Buddha. Normally you might think Buddha image, right? Like our statue. We have a beautiful gold statue here in the Naijin between me and Reverend Endo. That's one kind of Buddha image. But another kind is writing Namo Amida Butsu, putting it on a lotus, Buddha's name. Buddha's name is how we encounter Amida. So we have Amida Buddha's name, and then we have the names of all these people who've passed away. A few people did pre-need, and they had the name put before they passed. Okay, but most of these people have passed away. So I was kind of thinking, these scrolls are kind of like a time machine. I was going to give a whole talk on time machine. I'm going to save that for later because I have something way more important to talk about. But it's kind of like a time machine. We can go back in time all the way back to 1964. The Beatles were already out, but they hadn't put out Revolver or Sgt. Pepper yet, right? Elvis was already popular. So 1964, you can kind of think about what happened in 64. Anything big? John F. Kennedy? I don't know. So we can go back in time to 1964 and more recently and think about those people, right? So that those people have donated to the church and want to take care of the church. And so in the present, we're here. We're here at Buddhist Church of Oakland. It's amazing. It's amazing that we have this church in the middle of Oakland, in the middle of California, here in the United States. To have a Buddhist temple here is really special. It seems every day, yeah, I go there every week, but no, it's really special. I mean, yes, it's cool to just come and be like, yeah, the temple, but it's pretty amazing. It survived a lot, right? It survived the internment, it survived the Loma Prieta earthquake, right? It survived a lot. It's really, really significant and special that we have our church, and it's partly because of these people in the past. We can also think about the future, okay? The future. The people who had their loved ones' names put here wanted us and those in the future, even from now future, to be able to meet the Dharma, to hear the Dharma, to be able to hear about Buddhism. Okay? So, why would we want the temple? And one is so that we can have Buddhism, right? And so we can recite the golden chain, like we just did, right? And that's why I did the remember song. Even though you never heard it before, think, 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 pure and beautiful thoughts, and say, 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 pure and beautiful words. See, I know it because I've done it before, so we just got to learn it, right? And you know golden chain, we just recited it, right? But I was kind of thinking, is there another golden, right? Isn't there some golden? Oh, I can't sing it right off the top of my head. Anybody want to sing it? We're gonna be golden. We're gonna be. We're born to be glowing. Something in Korean that I don't know. For the next line, right? Right? Okay, who's seen K-pop Demon Hunter? Yeah, over here, right? Yeah, you can raise your hand. It's okay. Right? Who hasn't seen K-pop Demon Hunter? All the people over there, right? So, some of you told me. First you asked me, Sensei, have you seen K-pop Demon Hunter? I was like, no, what are you talking about? Sensei, you should see K-pop Demon Hunter, right? I know someone here said that to me, right? And so finally I saw it. Thank you for asking me. Thank you for letting me know about K-pop Demon Hunter. I didn't really know. I finally watched it. At first because of the song. Someone who I follow on YouTube did a kind of a heavy metal version of the song Golden. And so then I looked and I started listening to the regular one. And then I was like, I gotta watch this movie. So I watched it. I watched it Friday and Saturday. That's why it's not like really ingrained in me yet. But I watched it. I laughed. I cried. I cried more than I laughed. It's pretty good. It's pretty amazing, actually. I was really impressed with the film. And, you know, people have been talking about how it has a lot of influence from Korean religion and culture, right? So I'm not that familiar with Korean culture. I'm really familiar with Japanese religion and culture. I'm pretty familiar with Indian religion, some Chinese religions. Korean religion has a lot to do with India and China because just like Japan, they got so much from India, Buddhism. But not only that. Right? And so there's also shamanism. There's all this different stuff that appears in K-pop Demon Hunter. That's really, really interesting. I didn't see much Buddhism on the surface. Right? I don't think there's not a lot of like really explicitly Buddhist stuff in the movie, but it still resonated with me. Right? It really, really resonated with me. So who hasn't seen it? Okay, spoiler alert. If you really don't want to hear about it, plug your ears. I'm gonna try not to give away too much, right? But so if you saw K-pop Demon Hunter, who was your favorite character? Zoe, Rumi, and now can't pronounce the names because I've only seen it once, right? Oh yeah, the tiger thing. Yeah, the tiger is so cute and Derpy. Yeah, Derpy, is that his name? And the crow, right? Stuffy, huh? Sussy the tiger. Who's Derpy? Sussy the bird, Derpy the tiger, right? And they come from Korean art. They come from Korean art from like centuries ago. So it's really kind of cool to see the movie and see these different characters. I'm not going to name the person, just a spoiler alert kind of thing, but one of the characters is half human, half demon, right? And so I felt like I kind of resonated with that character. Actually, our chairperson is half chair, half person. No, just kidding. But I think some of us here are half Japanese, half white. Some are half Japanese, half Korean. Some half Japanese, half Chinese. Some are not half, right? But for me, being half, I just considered myself half when I was growing up. I didn't like specify one or the other. I just said, I'm half. Right? And so, but that, you know, when I was growing up, I would wonder. I'm so fortunate. I lived in the United States. My dad was white Anglo-Saxon and lived from New England, and I lived in New England for a lot of my life. I also lived in Japan for a lot of my life and was able to encounter Japanese culture, learn some Japanese language. But that didn't mean it was easy. It was actually kind of hard being in Japan and not being full Japanese. Right? That people treat you kind of differently, and so that was difficult sometimes for me. When I came back to the States too, it was kind of like, what am I? Right? I had to ask this question, what am I? At different points, sometimes I realized, wow, I am kind of part Japanese. I actually got a lot from my mom. My mom was from Japan. right? And so I got a lot from my mom of kind of Japanese-ness, maybe. I absorbed some Japanese culture living there, but I'm also very American. I went to Japan. I took Japanese in high school. I took 6 years of Japanese. I got to level 4. I should have been level 6, right? But I got to like 4th year barely. Took Japanese in college. I got worse, I think. I knew less. I went to Japan for a semester in college. When I came back, I was like, I don't want to do Japanese ever again. I was so sick of it. I didn't feel good enough. I wasn't good enough. It was too hard. And so I rejected the Japanese side of me. And I went fully into music, right? And I became a musician and played in bands and stuff. No Japanese-ness whatsoever. But then I found Buddhism. And so when I found Buddhism, I got really into it. It took a few years. And I realized this is what I want to study. And I moved way more to being Buddhist than to being a musician. I actually stopped playing for several years. One thing that happened, though, I realized, oh no, I'm going to have to learn Japanese again. Ugh! Right? And because it was Jodo Shinshu, it was BCA, right? But then I realized I actually know a lot. Thank goodness I took all those Japanese classes. When before I didn't feel good about myself because I felt like I didn't learn enough, and I felt guilty because my mom was Japanese and I couldn't speak it. But then I finally realized, wow, actually this is a treasure that I got because of my parents. Right? Maybe when I was younger I felt like they made me learn Japanese, but now I felt like thank goodness they made me learn Japanese because I want to learn it now. It's still really hard, but that really helped a lot. And then I realized, wow, I gave up my music, but I want to get back into music again. Like this is like 25 years ago. And so, it wasn't just one time. I think I've felt like these, and a lot of the characters feel that way actually, right? And that's what the lyrics to Golden are kind of about, right? That maybe I have these rough edges, right? And people think I can be kind of mean, but actually maybe it's okay. That's kind of who I am, right? And so that's what I feel like I got from Buddhism. That I got from Buddhism that I'm okay as I am. Okay, and you're okay as you are. Sono mama, right? Amida Buddha accepts you as you are. You still want to try to be the best that you can be. You still want to try and learn as much as you can. Definitely study the stuff you're really into. Study it as hard as you can. Jump into it. Right? The other stuff that's not so easy to learn, just do your best. Try your best. It's not always easy, but just do the best that you can do. Right? And then as you go through life, one of the key teachings in Buddhism is change. Right? And I see that in myself. I've changed so much over the years. And I've kind of gone back and forth between the racial aspects of myself, who I am, am I a musician, am I Buddhist? So now I kind of call, on Facebook, I'm half Buddhist, half bassist. Right? Because again, that's kind of who I am. Maybe it's because I'm a Libra, I'm not going to bring astrology into it. But that's really what I got. One of the main things I got from Buddhism is that I'm okay as I am. But who I am is always changing too. The other great thing, so I printed out the lyrics. I'm going to have to learn this song better. Golden, right? The lyrics, there's so many, and a lot of it's in Korean, which I think is really cool, right? But I lived 2 lives, tried to play both sides, but I couldn't find my own place. Right? I'm done hiding, now I'm shining like I'm born to be. Right? And so we have so much inside us that we're not always aware of, but that's part of Namo Amida Butsu. Right? Namo Amida Butsu, to try and see myself as I am, and to open up to this wisdom and compassion of Amida Buddha that accepts me as I am. So, thank you very much. It might not be my last K-pop Demon Hunter Dharma talk. We'll have to see. I cry too much when I watch it, so I can't watch it that often, right? But let's conclude the Dharma talk portion with Kansho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Namanda.
Thank you, Reverend Bridge. Some announcements. Next Sunday, November 23rd, we will have a Dharma family service at 10 a.m. Also, many of you probably have your BCO board ballots. Those are due November 26th to the church office, so you can send them in or bring them in. The office is closed and there's no service Thanksgiving weekend, so Sunday, November 30th. On December 7th at 10 a.m., we'll have our Bodhi Day Dharma School service, which will be followed by the December Shotsuki, monthly memorial and adult Dharma service, which will be at 11 a.m. On December 14th, starting at 7 a.m., we have Mochitsuki, our yearly annual Mochitsuki. You can sign up to volunteer through Dharma School and Youth Club. It's always a lot of fun, so come and help. Order forms are available through the website, so you can order online with credit card through the website, or you could contact the church office and bring in a check. So order your mochi early. And are there any others? I think that's it. Okay, so thank you for coming today. After the adult service, you stay for the otoki lunch, which will be served downstairs in the social hall. Right now, I'd like to call on BCO President Keiju Terada for some words of appreciation.
Thank you, Daniel. On behalf of the Buddhist Church of Oakland and the Board of Directors, I'd like to express our words of appreciation for today's service to Reverend Bridge for his Dharma message and for officiating this important Eitaikyo service. Thank you, Sensei. Reverend Endo for co-officiating the service. Thank you, Reverend Endo. And to Daniel Bissonette for sharing today's service, appreciated. And Steve Terusaki for his musical accompaniment. And to Reverend Endo again for the beautiful flowers and arrangement in the Onaiji. So thank you, and thank you all for attending today's service.
Next, we'll have the Gatha Farewell, found on page 45 of the small service book.
Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teacher, for your help. Thank you, everyone. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namu Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namu Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namu Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namu Amida Butsu, till we meet again. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namu Amida Butsu. Namanda. Actually, before we get dismissed, we do have a luncheon today, and one of the things that's happened, it's really hard to gather everyone before the food comes out to say itadakimasu. So I know it's early, and there's going to be a gap between, like time machine, there's going to be a gap between saying itadakimasu and actually eating, but let's do it now, okay, because we have everyone here. So please join me in Gassho. Let us be mindful of and grateful for all the causes and conditions that make the future meal possible. Namo Amida Butsu. Itadakimasu. Okay, now you gotta wait.
So, Dharma school students are going to be excused to their classes, but I know there's a lot of new students, so hold on, don't leave yet. Since there's a lot of new students, I want to make sure that they know which teachers they're going with. So if you're in preschool through first grade, you're going to go with Teacher Sammy, right? Once we go downstairs, you'll gather near Teacher Sammy. If you're in second through sixth grade, you're going to be with me, so find me downstairs. And if you're seventh and above, you're going to be with Teacher Jun. So Dharma school students are now excused to their classes. Adults are invited to remain here in the Hondo as we continue with the Eitaikyo adult service.
Okay, we can get started in a couple of seconds. Okay, so let's begin the adult portion of our service, and let's recite Sankiemon, which is the Japanese version of the Three Treasures, and it's on page 6 in the large purple book. Actually, this isn't the Japanese version of the Three Treasures. The Three Treasures is the English version of this. That's probably, but this is original, right? And then the English is a translation. So. I'll read it kind of slow because I know most of us aren't native speakers. Sankiemon. Ninjin nukegata shi ima sude ni yuku, buppo kikigata shi ima sude ni kiku, konomi konjo ni mukatte dose zumba, sarani izure no sho ni mukatte ka konomi o dosen, daishu mono tomo ni shishin ni sambo ni kieshi tatematsuru beshi. Mizu kara butsu ni kieshi tatematsuru, masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni, daido o taige shite mujoi o okosan. Mizu kara ho ni kieshi tatematsuru, masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni, fukaku kyozo ni irite chie umi no gotoku naran. Mizu kara so ni kieshi tatematsuru, masa ni negawaku wa shujo to tomo ni, daishu o tori shite issai muge naran. Mujo jinjin mimyo no ho wa hyakusen mango ni mo ai o goto gata shi, ware ima kenmon shi juji suru koto o etari, negawaku wa nyorai no shinjitsugi o geshi tatematsuran. I go to the Buddha for guidance. I go to the Dharma for guidance. I go to the Sangha for guidance. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Okay, thank you. I know we're not all used to it. We used to do this Sankiemon at a lot of our services. Shotsuki and the adult portion sometimes. And we kind of, we maybe stopped a little bit during the pandemic. And so I've been bringing it back, doing this Japanese version. And I also took up what I do at Concord Hoakai, which I received from Reverend Yamaoka, Reverend Dr. Seigen Yamaoka, of doing that. I go to the Buddha for guidance, the Dharma, the Sangha. Right? And so that's the three treasures. We may refer to them, or the three refuges, right? Going to the Buddha, the Dharma, the Buddha as Buddha, whether it's the teacher or, true reality itself, the Dharma, the teachings, or maybe true reality itself, and the Sangha, which in some cultures means the monks, but for us here in the States, and I think a lot of modern Buddhists, we just consider us Buddhists, right? The Buddhist community as the Sangha. And also this is that take refuge or go for guidance is the same as in Namo Amida Butsu, right? Butsu ni kieshi. Actually, we don't say Namu in this one. Namu kie butsu, Namu kie ho, Namu kie so. That's another way to say I take refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha. So thank you for joining us for the Eitaikyo service. Yesterday, I'm going to Japan in a couple days for a couple of weeks for vacation. Yay, me. And so one thing, though, is fortunately here, Reverend Endo will cover next week's Dharma family service, and then we're not having service Thanksgiving weekend. But I also teach. I teach at Institute of Buddhist Studies, and it's graduate school, so it's class for 3 hours once a week. So it's pretty long, pretty intense, but I kind of got used to that being a student at IBS. And one thing I realized is, not only do I have to take care of me being gone here, which I'm fortunate with Reverend Endo, but also I got to figure out what to do for school. Because I'm not going to do class while I'm in Japan. It's vacation. And so what I did is I rescheduled the last class to be like after I get back. But the middle class, I'm making a video. So a video presentation for the students. We've been doing, it's called Introduction to Shin Buddhist Thought. And so it's looking a lot at the teachings of Shinran Shonin, the founder of our school. And it's a kind of Pure Land Buddhism. And so you might have heard Namo Mitofo or Namo Aida Fat or Namo Amida Butsu. That's this saying the name of the Buddha. And it happens in Japan, Korea, Vietnam, China, Tibet. not Theravada Buddhism, not Sri Lanka, Burma, Cambodia, Thailand. They don't do that there. That's Theravada Buddhism. But in the Mahayana countries, Namo Amida Butsu is kind of mainstream. Not everyone does it, but it's one part of Mahayana Buddhism. For us, it's kind of the only part. We don't do a lot of other practices, but for some other kinds of Buddhism, it's one amongst many. And so part of making the video, I came in last night with my video camera and walked in. I kind of explained things and told the students, because it's the class I'm teaching is very philosophical. It's very doctrinal. It's a lot of concepts, right? A lot of philosophy. But there's also, we don't just think about stuff. We do stuff. Offer incense, right? Listen to service, chant sutras, recite the three treasures, right? There's a lot, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Lots of bowing, right? So there's a lot of stuff that we do as Shin Buddhists, in addition to the doctrine behind it all. So I decided one thing I'm going to do is I came in and I recorded a video. And I walked in and I showed them the pews and I showed them the incense burner and showed them the Naijin, and we have Amida Buddha and Shinran Shonin and Renyo Shonin on the other side. Shinran behind me is the founder of this school, and also the statue out in the lobby, right? And it's this amazing form of Buddhism where he was a monk for 20 years, starting from age 9. And then age 29 just has this real crisis and encounters Honen and this teaching of Nembutsu and gets married, gets defrocked, gets reinstated, does a whole lot of writing, and passes on his understanding of Pure Land Buddhism to become one of the largest schools in Japan. And probably one of the oldest and largest here in the United States in a lot of ways too, looking back to 1899 for our founding here, and 1901 for this temple, right? So there's a lot of history. And Shinran Shonin, to me, is one of the founts, right? The source of so much of this. I mean, he looks back to others, but really Shinran Shonin is the one who put it all together and gave us this teaching, like I was saying to the kids. You're okay as you are. Right, that you don't have to follow a bunch of rules and try and be something that you're not, and I have to be super special, or I have to be male, or I have to be a monk, or whatever. No, it's for everybody. And it's this really kind of egalitarian Buddhism when we can each be ourselves. So that's Shinran. Renyo, on the other side, is the 8th generation descendant. So like I said, Shinran got married. He also had children. And they become the ones that carry on the lineage, starting really with his great-grandson, Kakunyo. And so it starts this kind of patrilinear succession of temples. The rest of the Buddhists are supposed to be monks. They're not supposed to have kids. They're not supposed to do the thing that gives you kids, right? Because they're celibate. But Shinran does. He's still a monk, but he gets married, has children, and then it keeps getting passed on and on. So Renyo is 8th generation from Shinran. Both Dharma descendant, the teachings, and blood descendant, this lineage, this personal blood lineage. Right? And Renyo is the one who really turns it into a major Japanese Buddhist institution. Right, there's a lot of fighting going on in Japan, and the Honganji really becomes one of the main schools, one of the last holdouts against the warriors that are trying to take over and grab all the power. And they finally capitulate, and 1600, there's kind of a new system gets put into place. But Renyo, so he says something really interesting that I thought I've been thinking about because someone brought it up. And so when I was hopefully this will all weave together. When I was doing my video, I really went close, right? Because I'm minister, so you can't come up here normally, right? But I'm minister, so I came up, and I realized something really cool. We have 3 types of Buddha image in this temple, in this room, right now. Normally, there's only 2, okay? And so one is the statue. And so if you look in the central altar thing here, we have our statue of Amida Buddha. And it's very specific. Sometimes, like if you go to Kamakura, I kind of want to go to Kamakura because there's a big outdoor stone Amida image. It is Amida Buddha. You can tell because normally if Buddha is sitting with his hands in his lap, it's like this. But Amida's going like this, but like that. And so the fingers are like a OK sign, but linked, right? And so if you look at the Kamakura Daibutsu, it's like that. It is Amida Buddha, but we do not use the seated image. Ours is standing. Okay, so the standing Buddha. That's partly because the seated image is maybe more associated with meditation, right? And this kind of static sitting kind of image. Ours is active. It's Amida Buddha coming to us, right? And so even some imagery is even leaning forwards. Ours doesn't really, but the one in Fresno, I was sitting beside it in Fresno. I was like, whoa, that one's really leaning because it's Buddha coming to us. I'm coming on Buddha's side up here, right? So that's why I'm going like this. I should say us, right? Because me too. But it's Buddha coming to us, active compassion. So, and it's also a very specific image. The index finger and the thumbs. There's actually ones with the middle finger and thumb. There's one with the ring finger and thumb, or kusuri yubi, I guess they call it in Japanese, the medicine finger. But then you can also go like this, and then the meditation one, this, right, with the 3. So there's 9 total. Ours is this one. Okay, there's a thing about the 9 grades in the Contemplation Sutra, which might be connected to these different ones. And sometimes you'll see a Buddha image like this. It's almost like metal, right? But like this or like this. But our image has that. It's very specific. This is kind of the official image, right? That if a temple is going to get a new image, it's this one, statue like this. But if you go in the No Kotsudo, we have a columbarium over there with members' ashes, that door by the organ. There's a whole nother altar set up in there. It has the flowers, the candle, the incense burners, and it has a Buddha image. It's a scroll. It's a painted image of Amida. And then here, right, to what I was talking about with the kids, Namo Amida Butsu is the name. The Nembutsu, well, it's not the Nembutsu, it's the name. Nembutsu is saying the name. But the name is the image on these. So I realized, wow, cool. We have all 3 right now. When we have these scrolls out, we have all 3. Concord Hoakai just has the name. And so some temples might just have the name, or they might have a painting. But the kind of official Honganji thing is the statue. I was in Lodi Buddhist Church before, and apparently they used to have a painting, but now they have the statue. And Reverend Fukuma was the minister back in the 70s, I think, and he got the statue for that temple. And they shipped it over from Japan, and one of the members was telling me, oh yeah, my husband and I, we drove him to Port of Oakland to pick it up. It got delivered to Port of Oakland in a crate, right? And so then the sensei is like sitting in back with the crate, and they're like, no, sensei, we'll put it in the back. He's like, no, in the trunk or whatever. No. Like sensei's sitting next to the Buddha image, like really wanting to take care of it, right? And just really this precious statue that they have at Oakland. Lodi. But Renyo says something really interesting. So Renyo, like I said, the image over there, right, 8th generation descendant, and he is reported as saying, in other traditions, preference is given to painted images of the Buddha over a scroll bearing the name, and to wooden images over painted images. In our tradition, preference is given to painted images over wooden images, to the name over painted images. So it's kind of interesting. Renyo is saying, for us, if you're going to have an Amida like statue or Amida image, we prefer the scroll, the painted scroll, over the wooden image. But if you're going to have a scroll, we prefer the Namo Amida Butsu. We prefer the name over the Buddha image. And then you're like, well, then why the heck is the statue the main image, the official one, right? And so apparently it happened in the Edo period. That remember that I talked about the peace after the shoguns finally unite the country from 1600. There's this great peace for like over 250 years up until 1868. Right? And during that time, actually one of the things was that Buddhists weren't allowed to debate. He banned debate because that was why a lot of the fighting would happen before. Two Buddhists would get together and be like, no, our teaching is better. No, my teaching is better. Instead, they'd get like to start beating each other up or whatever. They get into actual like fighting. So he's like, no more debate. You're not allowed to debate anymore. And so each group kind of turns inwards and just gets really deeply into their own teachings. And during that time, they decided, I think it's around late 1600, let's see. By the mid-1700s, they decided on the statue. And the statue becomes the main image. And so that's why we have that. It's not that one is better than the other. I mean, we can think about reasons, huh? I think the reason they prefer the painted one over the carved statue is because of resources. Because, like I said, our Buddhism is more egalitarian. It's not about the rich people and the monks and then all the rest of the peasants over there. Right? It's about, no, it's the peasants and all of us, right? That we're on the same level. And so it doesn't have to be a fancy temple. It doesn't have to be a place with a lot of resources. You can have like just a dojo, just a meeting place. And so I think getting a statue must have been so difficult back then and expensive, right? To be able to get someone to carve a statue for you. You couldn't just go to a store, right? It was like, it was pre-modern. So a painting of Amida is better than a statue. And then for us, for Shinran too, I think Shinran really feels the human, the anthropomorphic Amida is, it makes us think we understand. It makes us think, oh yeah, that's Buddha. Oh yeah, I can see that. I can picture that. Whereas for him, Amida ultimately is inconceivable. Right? Inconceivable, beyond conception. I can't conceive of Buddhahood. I can't conceive of enlightenment. And yet, out of this enlightenment, Namo Amida Butsu, this name comes to us, coming from Amida Buddha and all the Buddhas, saying the name, Namo Amida Butsu. So that having Namo Amida Butsu written as the Buddha image, maybe that's why Shinran liked that the best. He would write it himself. There's these great, there's a few that are like his handwriting. Right? He got someone to draw the lotus, but then he wrote Namo Amida Butsu. And then he would write other stuff on it. And that would be the image for a place. Nowadays, with the statue, that's just kind of the main thing. But sometimes with my class, people say, the problem with Namo Amida Butsu is that if you can't read Chinese, you don't know what it is. Right? So could we write, I take refuge in Amida Buddha and put it on a lotus? Would that be a myogo? Honzan would probably say no. It has to be Namo Amida Butsu. It has to be the 6-character name. Right? It has to be these Chinese characters. But Shinran actually uses Chinese translations of Namo Amida Butsu too. Like the beginning of Shoshinge, Kimyo, Muryo, Junyorai. That's Namo Amida Butsu in Chinese. Namo Amida Butsu is like Indian language. I was almost going to say Sanskrit, maybe not Sanskrit, but it's an Indian language. Nama Amitabha Buddhaya. Right? You can say it in this Indian pronunciation, and the Chinese just sounded it out. It's kind of like katakana in Japanese, sounding out English or foreign names and words. So Namo Amida Butsu is the Chinese being like Nama Amitabha Buddhaya, okay, Nama Amida, choosing characters to sound out this Indian word. Kimyo, Muryo, Junyorai, that's Chinese translation of Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Fuka Kishiki Ko Nyorai. That's Chinese translation of Namo Amida Butsu. So why not English translation? I take refuge in Amida Buddha. One of the problems is that this is the name. And we have to say I in English. This is one of the great shortcomings, I think, of English. We have to say I or you or us or me. It's like we always have that pronoun. We don't say, eat cake. Go to a movie. You sound like a caveman when you drop the pronouns, right? But actually Shinran says, actually the name is not, I take refuge in Amida Buddha. It's Amida saying, take refuge in me. It's Amida's command to us. The name saying, you, take refuge in Amida Buddha. Take refuge in Amida Buddha. Take refuge in me. That's part of this active dimension of Amida. So some of my students who said, we can't understand what that is, maybe the statue is better. But to me, one of the problems with the statue is it's gendered, right? It's this male Buddha image. And normally we think of Amida as male, but like I said a couple of weeks ago, Halloween, right? We do Gasho to Amida, and I finally put together gender-neutral Gasho to Amida. And the reason being partly that ultimately Amida's beyond gender. But also, Shinran says explicitly in a footnote, there's a line from one of the Chinese masters, Shakyamuni and Amida are our compassionate father and mother. And Shinran repeats that, but then in the footnote he says, Shakyamuni is like our father, Amida is like our mother. So that when we gender Amida as male, we're limiting it. Maybe I think that's partly why he didn't like the statue. We're limiting it to our world of this and that and binary, right? And this world of dualism. Whereas ultimately, Amida is non-dual, it's beyond dualism. Okay? And so, do we have to stick to these kind of entrenched gender kind of things? So someday maybe we'll come up with something that nothing answers every single problem, right? But I really like this opportunity to have the Myogo, Namo Amida Butsu, the name, as the image here on these scrolls, in addition to our statue and our painting. The Eitaikyo, just again, is kind of neat to come up and look at the names. One problem with the scrolls too is it's in Japanese. So maybe 5% of the people here can read the names, right? And so I think what we could maybe do is have a screen, like scrolling the names in English. That's one idea I had for Eitaikyo service. Another would be to read the names. But there's a lot of names. That's the thing. It's going to take a long time, right? But that might be another way. We just had the Institute of Buddhist Studies, the IBS memorial service, a couple nights ago. And we used to call it the Eitaikyo service, but they kind of switched over to memorial service. But one of the aspects of that service, we read the names of all these people that have a connection with IBS. And so I was honored to be, for the first time, to be one of the people who reads the names. And I got to read the names of all these people. Some of them I knew in person. Some I've heard of. They're kind of famous scholars, maybe. Some I've never heard of. But still seeing, wow, all these people that are part of why we're here today and who wanted to keep this going into perpetuity. So that's kind of the meaning here, right? That we want to keep this temple alive. We want to keep this temple open so that the Dharma can continue to be spread, so that the sutras can continue to be chanted and recited, right? So that we can have this opportunity to connect with Amida Buddha, to hear the Dharma, right? To be able to be touched by the Dharma. So like I said, in my case, a lot, right? Just that I feel, and maybe when I asked that question about myself, am I Japanese or not? I think I was in my 20s, maybe 19, 20, 21, right? And I remember when I finally kind of came to this feeling, yeah, I'm really not just racially Japanese, but like I've absorbed some of the culture too, right? And I felt this kind of relief, right? That I kind of felt like I was kind of coming into myself. But at the same time, then I rejected it, right? So it's not a permanent thing. You kind of go back and forth. I ended up rejecting it and then re-embracing it and this kind of back and forth in our lives. It could just be maturity coming with age. But I like to think it's also due to my engagement with the Buddha Dharma and listening. And also, another really important part is community, right? That we look at these names and it's like, I might look and be like, where's my family? But you also know, oh, but I also know this. If you could read them, you'd be like, I remember them. Or, oh, I heard stories about them, right? That it's not just about me, even though the personal journey is absolutely very personal. And yet, our journey is being done with others. And Shinran himself, actually, getting back to the egalitarian thing, normally in the East, in Asian cultures, it's a teacher-student or student-teacher, teacher-disciple relationship, right? Hierarchical. The student looks up to the teacher, just the way the subject looks up to the Lord, just like the wife looks up to the husband, just like the son looks up to the father, right? Confucianism, right? With these kind of entrenched hierarchies. Shinran is reported as saying, "I have no disciples. We're all fellow travelers on the way." Now, I'm sure it's just built into Japanese society, so of course people looked up to him and bowed to him, but I feel like that's another big part of it, that for Shinran to say, "I have no disciples," most people I think would say, "I got 50 disciples, how many you got?" Right? They can even become kind of competition, right? Or go to this teacher because they have so many students and disciples, right? But Shinran making that statement, "I have no disciples," I think is really, really significant and points again to this really kind of egalitarian aspect of Jodo Shinshu. Some of our forms, if I was in Japan, I wouldn't be up here. I'd be on the floor talking to you. We'd all be sitting on the floor, actually, with our legs folded underneath us, which is why I'm glad I'm up here, because I can't sit like that for very long. But in Japan, at the temples, it's even more egalitarian, where the minister speaks from the same level as everyone else. The good thing about the podiums, you can all see me. Well, a couple of you can't see me because you're behind the scroll. But you know, San Francisco actually put it down on the floor, and now you can't see the minister from if you're seated too far back. Right? So there's one. So it's purely optics for me to be up here. It doesn't. I don't have to be up here. I'm not better than you. I might know more than you. So what? That's not what it's about. Amida isn't saying the people that know more are better or are going to get farther or to a better place. That's totally not the point. It's the opposite. All of us are equal in the eyes of Amida. Amida, a Buddha, accepts each one of us as we are. And I really think that the names on these scrolls are people who are such an important part of it, such an important part of the temple. And even if we never met them, they're part of who you are. They're part of who I am, because we're here. Right? We're here in the temple, and we couldn't be without them, without the sacrifices of so many who came before us. So we don't have to wait until the kids get out, because we already said itadakimasu, and we can go ahead and eat. And so, but that's the otoki. We're going to have an otoki luncheon. That's another thing we did at this temple. When I started, I used a lot more Japanese words. Like I say, I'm half Japanese. I can kind of speak Japanese. And then I realized people don't know what these words are. Right? So let's translate them all into English. But I don't want to lose the words either. Right? So otoki is basically a luncheon, but a Buddhist luncheon. It's got associations with Buddhism. Toki means time. Right? And so this otoki, because monks originally weren't allowed to eat after noon. There's a rule that you have to eat before noon. So otoki, this time to eat. And then even though I'm not a monk, Jodo Shinshu ministers, probably since Shinran, didn't keep those rules up. They didn't follow those rules. But we still inherit some of the traditions, like otoki, like 49-day service. We have all these kind of, that we receive them from the general Buddhist tradition, but they get reinterpreted. So thank you very much for joining us for the Eitaikyo. We don't have any new names this year. But if you want to have your a name of a loved one put on, or even pre-need, you can have your own name put on. You can just talk to me, talk to Keiju, talk to someone on the board, and it's an opportunity to honor a loved one. And the monies of the Eitaikyo fund, it's got its own fund, and it's really for maintaining the Naijin, this area here, in case of emergency. I think also the Hondo in a way, and I think also in a broad sense the temple. Right? It's kind of like a rainy day fund almost. Right? And we have new ways of doing that. It's called insurance. And so it's partly feeding into that to pay for, we finally got a good insurance policy for the, we're not sure to call them art objects or ritual objects, or what we want to call the items here in the Naijin, the statue, but also the tables, all kinds of stuff, right? All the stuff in here, the bells, right, are extremely expensive to replace, right? And so the Eitaikyo Fund is a big part of trying to be able to keep this temple going for perpetuity. So thank you very much. Why don't we conclude with Gassho? Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namanda, Namanda. Okay, and then let's sing a Gatha, Ondokusan II, In the small book, it's on page 73. It's kind of easier to read on page 218 in the large service book. And this is a poem by Shinran Shonin expressing his trying to repay this benevolence that we receive. 218. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Okay, thank you. I think that about does it. So you can come up and offer incense if you haven't had the opportunity already, and then we can gather downstairs, and please join us for the Otoki luncheon. Thank you.
Go downstairs.
Thank you, YouTube. See you later.